We are now recording the July 10th, 2020 Small Business Accounting Advisors. Hello, everyone.
Happy Friday.
Hello, happy Friday.
Friday.
Hello.
Matthew, I can't believe you let that Floridian in California.
Yeah, I'm shocked.
And gave me clothes because my luggage is gone. But
What?
Oh, lovely.
Lost your luggage.
Probably gone for COVID
Found it.
screening.
That's crazy. There's hardly anybody flying, and they still lose your luggage.
Seriously. No. But she does have one thing to tell you about her flight.
Yeah. Oh, good. We'd love to hear it.
Only when no coffee.
Oh, there was no coughing on my flight. You ever flown and had no coughing? There was
No coughing?
Nobody coughed. Nobody did.
Good.
Everybody's scared to.
They'd be
Like,
I've never flown. All the flights I've taken, I've never flown on an airline that there wasn't somebody coughing behind my hair. You know, like, nothing. Everybody had masks. Everybody was very careful with the masks, except when you go off the plane. Like everybody, like you'd sit in the airline and everybody would kind of like go like this in the airport. But then when we get off the plane, as soon as the door opened, jam right into the aisle. I'm like, where did that social
same as
distancing
usual,
go?
yeah.
Everybody has to get off the plane. But,
And get that mask off.
yeah, so kidding. 7 hours with that on yesterday.
Oh, man.
All just to see you.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine's
Was it worth it?
No.
Where's my bucket?
Horrible. Thanks, Shannon. By the way,
You're
I have
welcome.
a referral for you. Remind me to tell you about it later.
Shannon's my girl.
Oh, I don't think I want that one.
So Linda's going to start out talking about Woodard. There was another event. Was it Tuesday?
Oh.
Linda?
No, it was
Russell?
Today.
Today?
The Woodard Alliance
Well, there was
today.
one today. What? I don't think there was one this Tuesday. There might have been one the week before. And
Okay.
remember, we're on this very special timeline right now called COVID time. Mm-hmm. So it's like if we talk about anything that happened 2 days ago, that feels like it was 3 months ago. Isn't it weird? It is. That's how time goes. It's time. So this was this morning. So it only feels a day or two ago. So.
I'm teaching there. I'm so excited. I'm teaching there. I'm going to dance with her in it.
Oh, that's wonderful. I'm glad you are. I don't know whether I'm going to go in person. I think I'm going to actually do it from because I'm not sure they'll let Californians into Florida.
Oh, yeah. They let
I don't know if you're going to want to be in there.
That's why
I
it's
don't
in
know
Florida.
either.
It's a hotbed.
The thing is, you never know from day to day what's really going on. And as Ernest has clearly pointed out, is the different ways, different counties, different states, everything are reporting things. And
They
I
called
was
me out on
tested.
air.
No, that was brilliant. It was very good. It was excellent to hear somebody.
Since you said that, I have to
You
clarify.
agree with your conspiracy theories, Ernest. It's okay.
All I'm saying is, as a data scientist, right? It's like, look, you can't roll suspected numbers into confirmed tested numbers.
Yes.
Not like have a slicer that says, I want to see what both of those are. I mean, that's not being genuine.
That's like I read this morning that New York was reporting deaths if they lived in a nursing home and they just stopped. I'm like,
living in the nursing home or stopped living?
Yeah, that their address was a nursing home when they died. And what they said was, well, they didn't die at the nursing home, so we're not counting them.
Well,
and I think that would have been a really good statistic to have.
What if they do put them out in the parking lot?
Hospice.
Man, it's all a game.
All I can say is this. I don't, many of you are not old enough to remember the Vietnam War, but there was a big thing, talking about you guys, There was a big
I'm
thing
old enough.
About body counts, right? And they were totally manipulating body counts for political purposes. I'm just drawing the reminder to you. You can bring your own inference back to that, but I think that there's something going on there.
I have been saying it for a while that it's politically driven. The way they report numbers, even in Ventura County,
well, they get money.
They ironically keep changing the format in which the numbers are being reported. Like just this last week, all of a sudden they stopped reporting the number of new cases on certain days. It's like, why are you doing
why?
Because
Why would you do that?
it's consistency of data.
And do you see it different county to county? I'm seeing it different county to county.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
So it's worthless. Bad data. Bad in, bad out.
Well, Florida,
Yeah.
they test you and then they test you again. So if you test positive, they'll test you a second time.
Mhm.
But that should count as one person, right?
Right.
They count two.
Yeah, I heard that too. Because you get the real story from the ones at the hospital. Or
Yes.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah,
Healthcare
that's
the
where.
ones that are filling out the paperwork and they're going,
So when
But
this
Canada, hold on. But Canada, what actually Canada does is crazy.
yeah,
They
what?
just lie about all their numbers. They say it's just.
They say they have
going on
none.
up there.
Tiffany, straighten him out.
It's the Americans that made them all have COVID.
I think somebody's being baited.
Yes, and I'm not going to switch to that one.
It's a hot potato.
I would like to say something about the numbers because I listen to a radio station out here, and Matthew would know about it. Linda may or may not. KFI 640 AM, and they deliberately do a rolling average for like the last 4 weeks in order to, because they know how wrong the numbers are, and there's only certain numbers they pull out too. And they do basically Ventura County, LA County, Orange County, San Bernardino, and Riverside. And that's where I listen. And they try to do it non-politically or apolitically. Now, obviously, they can't be 100% that way because they're not the one that are reporting the numbers. But it's I think that's probably the thing that
One would
people are
think
most
that you
upset.
could just report it from a medical standpoint.
Wouldn't that be refreshing?
Yeah,
I
it
like
would
the
be really nice if they would.
hospitalizations, but that's not really there. I don't know. There's so many young people that are going to have, I mean, all ages, long-term effects, and we're just now learning the long-term effects.
Oh,
Right.
my
For
sister
some
said it's
people,
awful.
yeah.
So
I can't afford brain damage.
I need all. You're right.
No, you can't.
No.
Never.
So let me tell you. Okay, you know how just crazy stuff keeps happening. Okay, and maybe I can blame it.
Did the lightning strike again, Sarah?
Huh?
Did the lightning strike again?
Knock on something quick. No, my server died, but and we're trying to like kill the server, but I wasn't ready yet. So anyway, oh well. All right. So okay. I thought I was going crazy in Word and Excel. I'm like, do I have a bad mouse or my keyboard or what the hell? And then it was doing weird stuff in Outlook. And so I just happened to, I finally had a sticky on my monitor, like, look into this because I'm not crazy, So what was happening was I would go to swipe with my mouth and highlight, and it would move it. And I'm like, wait a minute. I do things without thinking. I'm not doing anything any differently. Is it me? What's going on? So I couldn't highlight. I have to click on a cell and then, and that was weird. And then it was happening in like emails. And then what was the other thing in Outlook? Oh, when I scroll through and just poke on my emails, I have them opening on the right. And then they mark as red as I scroll through them because I don't want to double click and open them. And, and if I really want to read it, I do. So, and so it's a very quick process. Well, over on my other monitor, it's opening up. I'm like,
Wow.
I'm not clicking any differently than I've ever
Did
clicked.
Mert change your setup?
So then I thought,
Kinda messed
see,
with
that's
your
what I was
primary
thinking. I'm like,
monitor.
okay, what'd he do?
He pranked.
He's
Right.
messing with my setup.
I Googled it.
Primary
Guess
monitor,
what?
right?
There's a whole Reddit thread of people going, am I going insane? And it's a bug that came out, some sort of a thing in the last, anyway, it's a known issue.
So the thread was just, am I going insane? Or was that?
Something like
Okay,
that.
so how many times do we something weird happens and we just go,
We blame ourselves.
software, it's computers, maybe it's me.
Much more often these days than before.
Don't
Right?
you?
right? So you had like weird stuff happening. Mine was the sound. My sound went out for no reason
That's right.
whatsoever. You know,
Angela's sound has gone out for no reason.
it's what window
Is it a
I
Windows
love
10?
Linda Russell's description of that. Windows updates gone amok.
Windows updates, run them up.
Okay, but I don't. Maybe y'all are in Google or Gmail or something. But have y'all noticed anything like that in Excel? And
yeah,
I've
actually noticed it, and I figured for me, most of the time when that happens, I've hit some combination of keystrokes.
Yeah,
like control something or function something.
Yeah, you think it's you.
But it's not.
Well, no, most of the time it is me.
Well, Sarah, I haven't noticed anything in Word or Excel, but I have noticed that my Outlook has been really boggy where I'll click on one and it takes a while for it to open. And the other day, my PDF software, I couldn't tab between the different cells when I was filling out a PDF.
Yeah,
interesting.
Weird. I'm telling you.
But I restarted my computer.
It's the
and the problem went away.
Yeah,
that's fixes many things. Bye, Tiffany. You leaving us?
Have a great weekend.
Bye.
Have a good weekend, Tiffany. So yeah, a lot of times to reboot the computer.
Right. It did not.
Well, that's what I was told. That was the first thing in the support thing was reboot your computer. And I'm like, I turn it off every single night. So come on, this has been going on for weeks.
Yeah, right. If you're rebooting it, and it's continually happening. Yeah. But
well, it worked for my daughter. It fixed it. What happened is she had installed QuickBooks 2020, and she'd never opened the data file or done anything else at that time when she installed QuickBooks 2020. So it wanted her to register it and all that stuff. And, it's like, and of course, people always wait until they want your help. And then you have to sit there for 20 minutes while I didn't know I had to do all this. Yeah, that was why I suggested you either do it with Heather or with me. So anyway. But if you want to take a quick look at one of the things that Intuit is working on, that's very clever. Where is it? It's
is allowed to be shown.
I did. Did you have any screenshots?
This is here. If you have a client's data file, and this is a very old, extinct, out of business client, and you come up, you go into the accountant, and you go over to the client's file. You go to accountant. For right now, this is how you get into it, but it's going to change. Month-end review, bookkeeping review. They have this. They are really, really working on this. So it's going to be available to everybody, and it's really, really neat. They have everything, and they've gone into AI, and they've put down all the things that maybe you need to check.
Show them the, it even has a section for items without payees.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Well, that's this. That's what this one is. Hold on here. Right here. These don't have a payee name.
Yeah. Does it drive anybody else crazy when
transactions without e-payee? There's 21.
Drives me nuts.
Yeah. But sometimes that's the way it comes in when with the bank feeds.
No, well, of course, especially if it has a check number. Yeah. It comes in that way. Mm-hmm. So that's the bank not sending the payee name, but hopefully the person, look at, and now this was a pet rescue place. So somebody is not writing off their pet food, all right? This is a pet rescue place. So,
right. So
here's our standard default uncategorized asset, which is not real. And then you check for personal transactions, review loan payments, you can record cash transactions. And there was another one, if you want to add something that is special about this particular client, you can then go and search and find the item that you want and link it in there, and then you can add that in.
Nice.
URL.
Yeah.
Nice.
And
we are trying to make it better, but the whole.
Well, they want it,
it's not going to be completely automated. You're never going to get to the point where AI does everything.
Well, they can't, because they can't speak to human beings.
Right.
And not only, but human beings don't make a whole lot of sense sometimes. And only another human being can figure out what they might have done and said, well, could it have been this? Because what I found a lot with my clients is they have their little debit cards, the business debit card and the personal. And many times they put, oh, they charged that new dress on the business account. And then, so they'll transfer money out and then back in, but it's never categorized. And there was another lady who they sub-rent at their restaurant. And then sometimes what they do is, instead of having them pay rent, they just get food at this sub-rented restaurant. You know, and you really have to dig around to find out, well, what have they done? That's some of the worst ones I've seen.
Right. But everybody has their own set of special circumstances that has to be looked at. I don't know how AI is going to work unless everyone is as simple and the same, and you know, all of that.
Yeah, it ought to be very interesting.
Go ahead, Matthew. What did you say?
How would AI have handled COVID?
Well, you'd need a lot of programmers working on that. And they would have to be working
instantaneously, right? It would take additional, it could, once it was understood by humans, to then go in and program it to the specific needs.
If it's repetitive.
AI caused it.
If you can say, this equals that all the time, that makes sense.
But it never happens that way.
No, it equals.
There's a lot of
And
stuff
can we
it
get
does.
AI to do the payroll, the 941s?
No.
The new 941s since that have come out?
No, the desktop just finally, I didn't check it yesterday, but today I was able to run my very first 941 where it didn't try to automatically give somebody the credit. Where I was actually able to have it say that there was no balance or no credit balance or refund due. So I am very happy to report that I believe if you have the latest payroll update in QuickBooks Desktop, that you should now be able to possibly run your 941s for quarter 2.
I did mine today without any trouble, so.
Yeah.
I didn't have any adjustments. I was just like a plain old normal.
Right. Well, I was trying to not have adjustments and I couldn't get it to calculate that way.
Yeah. Well, I put it off because you've been suffering through it for us.
Well, I'm glad I can experience pain to save you from it.
Thank you. I went out on Teams and I went, nobody start 941. Shannon says don't start 941.
I've been putting the quarter, I had trouble finding the quarter 1 941 for 2020. I must have been Googling things wrong, but I've got one saved and I've been going into a bunch of the different groups that I'm in on Facebook and uploading it into the file section.
Smart. That's really smart.
Nice.
Well, here it is.
They'll still ask you for it, by the way.
Well, yeah, they do. And you know, sometimes I'll be like, well, you uploaded the 2019 one. Like, oh, grabbed the wrong one, sorry. So, but attention to detail that I'm supposed to have has been lacking lately, I think. People have been asking, payroll has just been really overwhelming since March.
Absolutely, and I can understand why, and I don't think it's going to get better until next year.
No, some of these credits last for 2 years. If you do the payroll credits, it's 21 and 22 is when they start getting paid back.
Oh, nice. Lovely.
I think we should.
Do you think they're still going to make changes?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Do I think they're a bunch of attorneys? Yeah.
Right. No dissing on attorneys.
Well, that's why everybody's procrastinating even thinking about the PPP.
I had it on my to-dos today. It's been on my to-dos all week, but I'm like, I've got so much other work to do that I just wanted to at least touch every client and go through the easy and see if we qualify and see where the pain points were and just get oriented. I just can't seem to open the file.
Can't do it. Can't do it.
I had a client that asked me about the PPP, and I looked at it for about an hour, and I said, talk to an attorney. Here's a couple links.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, they get people on staff at these law offices that are solely devoted to this stuff. Stay on top of that. I thought, I'm not going to take any kind of liability for making recommendations on the PPP.
Right. Probably attorney's ready to do that, just that, right?
And Sarah, you're looking for a cash flow program.
Well, when we were talking about AI and then Woodard, so I don't know, Linda, if you watched the portion of the Woodard meeting today was about Finograph, and then I got on the phone and didn't watch it, but
are they still calling it that?
What, Finograph?
Yeah,
cash flow tool. I think they're using cash flow tool, but it's still, the company is still Finograph. So
okay.
But so I called. Okay, let me back up. In the middle of audit season, and some of the auditors are coming back and saying we need to prove what's the word? We're going to make it the next year. And so they want a statement. They want a cash flow statement for the next 12 months from the point of the audit, and then whether you think your business will continue or not. And then they analyze the rest of it. It's part of the notes. So, I do cash flow statements. Most of my clients are very healthy cash wise, and we've never really gotten in the habit of doing cash flow statements. Okay. So I got one request and I thought, oh gosh, they're all going to start asking. So one auditor asked, now this is a very complex nonprofit with restricted funds and 4 programs and grants. I mean, it's just, and they're in the middle of moving and they're in the middle of, new building and furniture. And I'm just like, how am I going to do this? So I went started, let me pull all my notes out on Finograph. How does it think? And it's doing projections based on history and what's in AR and AP. But it's a lot more complex than that, So, and then I looked at something with a frog. Cash flow frog?
Cash flow frog.
Yeah. And so they all said that they would deal with 1, desktop, and 2, multiple accounts receivable accounts, which is important in the nonprofit world because I'll have grant receivables, we keep our receivables separate. So that was the good news. And then I was getting ready to do maybe a trial, and I just dove in Excel, and I'll tell you what I ended up doing. So, and it was really hard when we had the meeting with the treasurer and the executive director and everything. I've worked so hard all these years to beat in their heads accrual. Accrual. Nope, that doesn't matter because that goes to the balance sheet. So I've been doing such a great job training them on how to read financial statements. And here we are with this spreadsheet, and it's the checkbook. So the first thing I did was I did P&L in months, cash basis. So I got a little snapshot of that. Then I did a report of every disbursement, I don't care what bank account, with the vendors in rows and the amounts in columns, monthly columns. And I just started A to Z. And I went, okay, oh, that's a reoccurring. That looks like they paid them for 2 months and then it went away. So when we're meeting, they're, oh, we had this contract. We had a marketing person for 2 months and it was just a short project. Okay. So it was an exercise that as their controller and their advisor, I should do this normally, if I really want to know how they function. The problem is you do the normal monthly work and you're in your accrual head and everything's in the right bucket and everything's fine. And you don't really allow yourself enough time to go, just looking at it at a different angle to see if there's anything, So anyway, I patterned it, beginning checkbook, and there were 5 checkbooks. So I had to have another little table of the checkbook, and I had to break out restricted and non-restricted. And then I sort of patterned it after a P&L, but cash in, cash out. And then there were some rows that just did better with detail and the others didn't need detail. Like they'd pay all kinds of crazy dues and they all come due at different times of the year. So as I went through their P&L, their cash basis P&L, and got oriented to how just they do business every month, I could see patterns, and if you really want to do a cash flow statement, it can't be just my office supplies are $1,200, $100 a month. Not in a lot of areas. I could in some areas, but there's some things that are reoccurring and would go away once they move into the new building, like gas for the water heater. $600 a month is a big building. And once we had a template and I could have a meeting and we just went top to bottom, they go, oh, that's going away in August. Great.
There you go. Right.
We'll probably have a bigger electric bill. Yeah, it's a bigger building, So, I did that top to bottom. And then I did 2. I actually did 2. I did one like, I'm just going off common sense and just how I would want to look at it, I guess. Regular routine operations. And at the bottom, I did another one with like all that's going to take to move in. What's the furniture that's left to buy? Is it coming out of the restricted buckets or whatever? So because it's temporary, once they get moved in and settled, that whole section is going away. And I didn't want to muddy up the regular cash flow. But it really opened up. Ooh, wait a minute. You've been buying, you just bought a server and all these laptops and there wasn't any restricted money for that. We know. So you dipped into regular money for that. Okay, well then how are you going to pay this bill? I mean, it was a beautiful tool to visualize. I put it on a team so we could all share it. And they had 365 licenses, so I invited everybody in, and I was so pleased with it when it was done. But
well, I think
I do that by hand.
Cash flow should be on a cash basis as opposed to accrual.
Right.
I
mean, that's what it is.
A financial advisor tell me one time, I don't know why accountants look at the P&L and balance sheet, look at the cash registers, start with your beginning balance, money in and money out. And it's simple. Yeah. Then you have at the bottom where you're going to be.
Right. You could see that some months would go red, and I'm like, okay, if you think your AR payments are going to be $35,000 on that department, you're going to be in trouble. So what's your plan?
Exactly.
Oh, well, we just got a $150,000 line of credit for emergencies.
There you go.
So we don't want to hit it, but we could. Okay, so there was the answer for the auditor. But now here's the tricky part. So what I did was we had the books closed through June. So I started July 1 and went 12 months from July 1. And I now need to come back and put in, once we get June closed, somebody should come in and populate actual. That's time consuming.
It's almost like a budget though. I mean, it's almost like you could do the budget and get that same information.
I don't know. I mean, I'm going to have to pull a cash flow P&L, but like a cash flow P&L, well, let's take ADP, okay? Our standard draft for net payroll is this, for taxes is this, you know, and by the time you add all those components together, you're really getting gross and your company share. But if you think of it in terms of your checkbook, it's coming out of the checkbook in these components, like paying for the 401k. Okay. Yep. So cash out is for the 401k. If I were to look at it accrual, it's going to be just the match, you know? So it's a completely different way of looking at
exactly
the movement of cash. Yeah. So,
exactly. I'd love to see a program based on registers as opposed to where they're at now. Just so, like that.
I was going to ask you, actually, I was going to ask, hey, Ernest, so have you already started this app yet? Or
I'm doing it now. That's why I did the camera off.
Are you working on it with the camera off right now? Is that what's going on, Ernest? What are we calling this?
Well, you know what? My disbursements by vendor or payee, because they weren't all vendors, but by payee, there was the juice, you know? So it said, but see, that's the way I do my books. I'll do ADP, net payroll, ADP, taxes, ADP, fees. It's already broken out by payee in the checkbook. So that made it really easy to isolate that kind of stuff. Where, you know, when you're looking at things that are seasonal, you don't want to net too much. Like they use professional fees for all kinds of stuff. I actually broke it out between auditor, monthly accounting, you know, PT, contractor, stuff like that, because I could see, well, okay, you pay your audit bill this month, you pay your 990 bill that month, you know, and then, so just taking it and dividing by 12 isn't gonna work.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, when you talk about all this AI, I don't think our job security is it's not when it comes to analytics.
I agree with you. I don't think we're just changing. We're not going away. We're changing.
Mm-hmm. You know, and then on the flip side, as much as I say, wow, they need me for, you know, accrual and everything, Mark and, you know, our books are in QBO. And through the years, I've been, you know, I'll see a charge and it says, what can you make a rule and then you want it to post this automatically? And I'll go, yeah, that always goes there. And so we come in now I come in, and I'll come in maybe every couple months, 2 months or so. And it's just all in there cooking, doing it something.
Yeah, but you have to look at the report.
Oh, we do. But I'm just saying, I see the beauty.
There's no getting around looking at the report.
But I see the beauty of hooking it up to credit cards and hooking it up to, you know, because if it sees folk music side, it knows to go to contributions. You know, now I still have a responsibility to read that general ledger and go, oh no, I bought a T-shirt. You know, but. Mm-hmm. Anyway, it was just the COVID thing. I think the cash flow is
really, really important.
I haven't really done all these years.
A lot of people, because of COVID, people just starting up again. Are they going to make it to the end of the year? Then what happens next year?
What happens? I know.
Right.
So,
right.
Sarah, did you say you're
finding that extra time? Because some probably need a cash flow statement. And I need to approach them and go.
I'm simply doing it and sitting down and talking to them with it in front of me.
See, I have flat fees. I have annual contracts divided by 12, so I have to be real careful how much work I do.
Right. Yeah. But something like that, though, they appreciate so much, and it raises your value in their eyes.
It did. It took me all day Saturday to do that monster.
Right. And they look at you differently after you're talking to them, and they can see what you're looking at.
Visualize.
They understand. Right. And the understanding part too. Mm-hmm. So yes.
It really, I felt really good. I felt really good when it was done because I tried to make it as clean and clear
right
as possible. And then, and I said, look, I don't know what to go here. I'm guessing it's going to be this, but only you guys know what your plans are next year.
And then they talk to you and let you know exactly what they know. And they're like, wow.
Well, I made a copy of it and I said, just it's in Excel. You know Excel. Click right here and start filling it in.
There you go. Exactly.
We shall see.
Anything else we want to talk about before we close for the end of the day?
Can I say, Gina, that I wasn't on last week because I was working. I had a client and I watched it on Saturday. And when I saw Linda there, I was so excited because I knew you had been in the hospital, and I actually called him and I'm like, she was there. Did I miss something? Did she not go to the hospital? And I said, no, she was there and she was out. So I was so happy to see you.
She looked brighter. Oh, good. I think she was more oxygen or blood flow. You just look brighter.
So cool.
We'll talk after we stop recording, but I just wanted to remind everybody that Scaling New Heights, which is September 20th through 23rd in Orlando, Florida, is still on for now. But there is also the option that people can attend it for exactly the same cost in person or a remote. And the remotes will include going to like about five different breakouts each session and different things like that. So it's quite possible. Plus, the Woodard Alliance recently changed from being $99 a month to being $35 a month. So if somebody's interested in having access to a monthly meeting like we had this morning, we skipped it last July 3rd because people were starting 4th of July early. But, and they have like, it goes for 2 hours, this first Friday of the month class, and it covers all kinds of things. The latest news from Intuit. And
they always have an Intuit person on. Mm-hmm.
They always do.
In Florida, so you can feed him to an alligator.
Didn't you bring an alligator out here with you, Linda?
It didn't her luggage, but they lost her luggage.
Still have it, right?
Yes.
It was a stowaway.
So Linda,
anyway,
I envision when he was talking about how they're going to do the virtual, I'm envisioning these little robots. These things are actually
they're actually human beings taking
carrying
pictures.
These special cameras, and they're going to try to make it as personal
as if you were there.
As if you were there.
Nice.
Excited to see that kind of technology. So it's not
kind of a little bit the way I imagine it. It's like these are human beings. I believe they're going to be people who work with or for Woodard. Yeah. And they're kind of like a little newspaper reporter that's not politically motivated.
You can actually talk.
Yes.
Yeah. Do those exist in the world?
No.
Yeah, they certainly used to. Remember Walter Cronkite, so wasn't John Cameron Swayze back then too? I mean, these people, the news, this is what happened. You wanted to know what does it mean.
In the new world, this is how it's going to be presented. That's awesome.
If I don't need a new robot.
He did say that he rented, if they have a couple thousand people, he rented enough space for like 10,000.
Wow. He did. He said, when you're going to be in a ballroom,
you're really going to be able to spread out.
You will be able to have 6 feet apart. Plus, they have devised a system. A red armband means I'm wearing a mask. Do not come near me without a mask.
Yeah, there's different colors.
And then there's a yellow one that says, I'm wearing a mask, but I don't care whether you're wearing one or not. Oh. And then there's, I don't know whether it's white or what it is, but there's another one that says, I'm not wearing a mask and I don't care if you are.
And I don't care, hug me all you want.
Asking people with the red armbands, do not go closer.
That's a novel idea.
It's a great idea. I love it. I love it.
It is. Please, it's like it's a sign that says, please, 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 without me throwing a fit.
Right. What'd you say, Matthew?
Maybe we should start that here in California.
We can't hear you, Matthew.
Please make sure whoever's talking to them, they actually take into consideration colorblind people. so they do good.
Oh,
I'm so sorry.
So Matthew, you need to tell
colors
him.
you talked about sounded fine, but I mean, like I'm actually being serious on it, right? Like,
Yeah.
if they were silly and did colors that were close by, if somebody's colorblind, then what are they going to do?
They're not going to let you come, Matthew. We're not going to allow you.
You need to wear your glasses.
You have to wear your glasses.
Do they all look the same? Would they look the same, or
It depends on how colorblind you are. People have different color
The
blindness.
reds, greens, and browns are very similar to me, and then blues and purples are similar to me. And
so, could you tell him what it maybe it should have a big X
or some logo or something.
Meaning, no.
The white versus, like, there's color deficient and then colorblind. Colorblind, which is black, white, and gray, is a much more unique. It's way less common, but having like a red versus a blue versus a yellow versus a white, those are all different parts of the spectrum, and it should be decent, like be okay. But they should also do like a diamond or a triangle or an X.
I agree, like an icon.
That's a great idea.
That's
a good idea.
You should recommend that. You should just recommend that.
I think he's got any ideas. Anything that makes people comfortable.
Right.
That would be a good idea for us all to start doing, you know.
Exactly.
I know, because here it's in California, people get really upset.
They do.
They could do a little X if it was a red X.
I like
way.
Well, as long as nobody has swastikas on
What is that, Matthew? I've been watching you play.
What is it?
Projector mount.
Projector.
So I've had a projector forever that Mike took to BNI, and we have the drop ceiling. So I finally found at my favorite place, Bulldog Liquidators, this mount piece that I can basically take the two ceiling tiles, push them up, and put it in my conference room. And
wow, nice.
Great. That's fantastic.
Nice. Great job. Well, we're going to end. We're way over
time.
Okay.
Sorry.
So, we will see you all same time, same place next week. Stay safe.
Nice weekend.